Hi, this is a video to help you work with your student on ire and or, those two specific types of R's. If you're looking for a more general overview of how to help your child with R, the different cues and for placement, that's in my other just R video that just goes over the generals of all the R's. Today is all about the ire and the or. So ire as in like iron, higher, and then or as in corn, for, Oregon. And these two types of R's tend to be some of the trickiest of the 7 or 8, however many different R's there are, just because of the way that they are made. So we'll start with ire. So if you have a child working on ire, you're going to want to stay here. If your child hasn't gotten anything related to that, maybe you want to skip ahead to the or, whatever you want to do. So ire, in most words, or it starts with, they have the IR in it, might not. We write it out like this in the speech world for this type of R, ire. But when I'm working on it with kids, they typically want to go I-O, I-O. It's just really hard to get all of that in there and then end with the R. What they also really want to do is just break it up. I-er, I-er. That's not how we talk, so we can't practice that way because we wouldn't ever say fire, I earn, choir. The ire needs to flow together to make that motor pattern. So what I do, instead of writing it out like this, I kind of write it out phonetically because if you really think about how we make the ire, it's got a little bit of a ya in there. So I tell them, this is not how we spell it, but just to help them say it, I write I, Y, E, R. Ire. Ire. And kids typically understand that. They see that yeah and they're like, oh yeah, we can't just go from I to I-er, I-er. There's another sound there in the middle. I-er. And we use that as a transition point. Also, it helps them remember to put their R at the end instead of saying I. So the movement for ire is to go with I, E, so the tongue has to move 3 different places. I, to make the ire. So go slow. Start. You can, start here. You say, so for fire, you can go fire, fire, and trace along. And as they hit each sound with their finger, make sure that they're making that sound in their mouth. But what we don't want to do is do I-er. We want it to blend together as well as we can, even if we have to do it slowly. So this is the trick I use for ire. Or is very similar, but or is even trickier because when we say or, there's a little bit of lip rounding. And with R's, a huge thing that we work on is getting rid of the lip rounding because so many kids want to do their R with a W. So when they learn their R, they think, okay, can't round my lips, can't round my lips. And then or comes along and involves the lips. So it gets really hard. They want to say, oh, they just want to keep that lip rounding. That pattern is there. So in the speech world, write it like that. When I'm working on it with kids, I write it out like this, similar to what we did with ire. O, or. So there does have to be a little lip rounding. But as they follow this with their finger, I say, okay, yep, right here we can do some lip rounding a little bit. And they might be in front of a mirror when you do this. Or. But by the time you get onto this that lip, they need to stop helping. That needs to be not helping anymore. It's all in the tongue after that. So or. So they might start with a bit of an O, and then by the end they can have a bit of a smile. So this first part is with a bit of an O, and the last part's with more of a smile. So or. It's very tricky. We don't want them, kind of like with the ire, we don't want them just going o-er, because we don't say like ornament. We say ornament, ornament. So practicing with good transitions and not making it choppy so that they can get that pattern down with their mouth. And it takes a lot of practice, and maybe they just need to stay here, just doing or every time until they can get that pattern, and then maybe try longer words. Okay? So or do that, and then they're kind of getting that. Maybe you could say you could try with a word in the beginning, or you could just try, instead of saying all of ornament, you could just try orn, and kind of building up into the longer words, just as long as it's not getting choppy and they're not using a rounding for the full thing. So I'll show both. This is the cue we use for ire,